All right. It looks like we are live on Facebook for another edition of Atlas Pro Talk. This is Stan Bastek coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia, from our corporate headquarters. I am joined by a very special individual, a trailblazer in our industry, somebody that's been very successful over many years in this game and looking to shake it up in some even bigger ways. Mr. Brian Wedding with roofclaim.com. Brian, how are you doing today?
Great, Stan. How are you?
Good, man. Good. So how's life down in Florida with these case count rising and just what's the temperature both physically and sort of the temperature of the people down in Florida right now?
Well, not to be Nancy negative, but it's going the wrong way as everybody sees. California, Texas, Florida, seem to be Arizona. So we're all just learning as everybody out there as we go of what to do and how to maneuver through this. I think we're really lucky the industry we're in that we keep to, it isn't a total shutdown by any means, but it is what it is, and we got to be safe out there.
Yeah, there's no question it's had a business impact, but I think we've certainly fared better than a lot of industries in being able to continue to operate as an essential business. But it has a big impact. But I think it's managing through it. But it's great to be joined by you today. I want to give a quick shout out to all of our Asphalt Life community. Thank you guys for tuning in. We've already got a bunch of people popping in and saying hello. Make sure that you guys tune in live, ask some questions as we go, make some comments, and you guys will have a chance to win some Asphalt Life prize packs. One of the many benefits of when you join us on a live day. So anyway, let's jump right in, Brian, and talk a little bit about your background. You're a Midwestern guy, right? Just like myself. So you got Midwestern roots up in Indiana. You live in Florida now. How'd you get into this business, and how'd you end up in Florida? Starting your life up in the Midwest.
I was in new construction, so I got called in 2004 when the 4 hurricanes hit Florida by a retired contractor who had heard of me. And at that point, it was number 4. It was Hurricane Ivan. They just needed help. We were all watching it on CNN, of course, but anybody who's seen which Ivan was a bad hurricane, what you see on CNN is not what you see when you go to one of these. It looked like a war zone.
Yeah.
I remember driving down 65 through Alabama, and the trees were bending over halfway, when I was going down through the state, not, hours away from Pensacola. It was just so much work that it was good business-wise. I thought it was a temporary thing, but I started working with some insurance companies, and the next year was Katrina, and I got called to that, and I said, I don't know what business this is, but there's a business here, and that's how it started.
Yeah. Well, you've obviously worked some of the most incredible and impactful storms, in recent memory, certainly, and it obviously creates a lot of opportunity while it creates a lot of damage. And you're in a unique position to get people whole again, right? I think that's a really powerful thing to be able to do. And you really evolved your business over the years to what you guys are today as roofclaim.com. So give us a sense of, you've made this transition from Jasper, building a unbelievably strong brand in Jasper Roofing. Now you've rebranded under roofclaim.com, and you've got a sort of a vision of where you want to go with that. Tell us a little bit about what that looks like and what your long-term vision is.
Well, the first speed bump is I didn't want to be the idiot that invented New Coke. Jasper,
Pepsi Clear, right?
Is very successful, and Jasper does own Roof Claim, but it's become more of a holding entity. For one thing, I bought roofclaim.com from some attorneys in Dallas about a decade ago. And the technology is just getting up to speed. They had the same idea, really, but, from a legal sense of working on roof claims. But what I love about, first, the name is the customer doesn't burn a lot of calories when you read, a billboard that says roof claim, what are we doing here? We're,
right.
More than likely we're doing a roof, and we're doing it through a claims process. And not that it has to be, but that is the bulk of our business.
Yeah.
So from a marketing standpoint, once we get back into normal times here and can start, the plan of what we were doing that really was supposed to kick off at this year's IRE, and we had a good kickoff and this happened, but this will clear out and we'll be back to normal. But it's just getting it more where technology and a contractor network combined, and with us being financially able to make this process work, making it just easier on the customers in these situations than that 10 years ago that it was, and just keep making it better for the customer, and hopefully helping some contractors out throughout the country pick up work that they don't have any marketing dollars in. They're just doing what they do, is installing roofs. Yeah, and the other trades that they can bolt on to with the customer.
So for a contractor listening to this and saying, okay, roof claim, I see where they're going with this. They want to sort of build out this network. This is not, trying to get them to do all their business with, within this network. It's really saying, hey, we want to help you supplement your business with stuff that we're going to go generate because of this big, powerful brand. Talk a little bit about how what your marketing philosophy is with this roofclaim.com. You're no stranger to, going big, swinging for the fences. We've seen a couple of those things with NASCAR and others, but, how do you evaluate a good decision, and what are some of those big picture ideas that you think you can do with scale?
Well, sporting events, I do think, because people are so tied to where you are, the Braves, down here, Alabama football, LSU football, people get real emotionally tied, and they start putting the two and two together. Unfortunately, I'm going to keep coming back to this COVID. Unfortunately, we don't know if there's going to be a football season, what that looks like. So a lot of our plans are on hold until, we are running a NASCAR car, or we think we are. We try to find it in there. That's a little shot to the NASCAR team. But there's no fans in the stadiums.
Yeah.
Track. It's not going to be as effective marketing, and the fans are back. But yeah, it's a big marketing push. The guerrilla marketing whole thing is just coming every which way with the technology. People, Facebook, Google, all that stuff. But billboards, TV, and I think that's where some contractors can really benefit from this. Is there is no exact science in that. There is no exact return of investment on that we're willing to carry, because we have done it. We know what works most of the time, but it's not bulletproof. You just got to get out there and really cover a lot of bases.
Yeah. Well, your team goes out, and obviously their job is to go and work with a consumer who's trying to understand a really complicated insurance process at times, and quite frankly, with one that at times may seem sort of stacked against them. What have you seen change with the way that insurance claims are processed over the years? And dealing with the insurance company as a contractor, what's that evolution look like since you got into that business to now? Has it changed, I would assume?
It has changed, and where it seems like it's the most obvious thing where it's going is less human contact on these adjuster meetings. What we call adjuster meetings, where an adjuster shows up. Those days, I think, are dwindling. You have drones that can feed back this information. It's faster, it's better, it's safer, and it doesn't cost the insurance companies as much which helps. But, you know, you got to put a lot of roofing contractors and insurance companies, that's very fractured segments together. Right. And that's what we want to help, is where we can get on a standardized thing where there's enough information that an insurance company, because they have to make a decision, you know, they can't just say, well, roof claim said it's damaged, you know, and, right. and nobody would want them to do that. They have to have the information to do that. Right. So I think the next process, if you're in the insurance claim side of the business, is getting to a standardized, what 3 pieces of information tell an insurance company, yes, we should do this, or no, we right. should, you know, whatever. And there's going to be some changes in policies, all states kicking out, where if your roof is over 10 years old, you only have an actual cash value policy, which, you know, a lot of people are getting all up in arms in that. Hey, listen, they're taking a lot of exposure out there. I don't have a problem with how any of these insurance companies are trying to navigate through this, if we could just get better at communicating to the customer, the policy.
Right. Right.
But, you know, that it's a competitive business. That stuff will take care of itself. If that'll work, then that's what it is. If it won't, it won't. But that's the way I see it headed. It's just more a technology game of analyzing these roofs, where it used to be, you know, only humans and a piece of chalk. And,
right.
Those days.
And you know, lots of different ways of interpreting the same information. I mean, I can't tell you how many stories of, let me show you the pictures of this approval and how do they look different from, you know, this for denial, you know, and again, it's the human element of it. And I think that's what's so fascinating about the onset of technology. You mentioned drones and coming up with some more sort of standardizations, and, you know, and really just looking at the overall cost of managing the claim, I think has to probably be a big factor for the insurance companies today.
And, you know, that's what I think everybody needs to understand on our side of the fence from the roofing world, is we want what's best for the insurance companies too. You know, now you have to pay claims when you can't sell auto insurance and wreck your cars and not pay.
Right.
But the cheaper, faster, best for them is best for the industry, you know. So if we can all work together and make that standardized where it's working, I think everybody's going to win in the long run.
Yeah. Well, you made a point that I think is really important, is, you know, talking about the changes in the way some policies may be written down the road. It's really, I think, about transparency to the policyholder, to the consumer at the end of the day, whether you're in retail or whether you're in insurance, you know, or a combination of both. I think that at the end of the day, what any business in the customer service business should aspire to is that we're here to make sure that the process and the expectations are clear for the person paying, because even, you know, at the end of the day, the policyholder is paying for that roof. You know, it's either pre-funded through their premiums, or, you know, it's being bought in a retail situation. So I think if they know what to expect, and it's the same thing for your business, I'd have to imagine, hey, let us walk you through the insurance process. Let us walk you through available upgrades. We can get you this roof, which is like for like, but hey, I could also upgrade you to this. Give me a sense of what your sales reps do in terms of trying to keep that process transparent.
Well, I'll tell you, it's funny you said communicating to the customer. I happen to be at my house right now, and I just had my roof replaced. The insurance did pay for it. It's a 12-12. It was a very hard job. It's tile, so it's 1,000 pounds of squares of concrete coming off. And I'm writing an article right now that says, I used roofclaim.com. It was a horrible experience.
How does that work, man? You're knocking your own company? Tell me what's up with that.
I want to be transparent to the customers. When I pulled up the first day I'd been on the road and saw what I saw at my house, I was like, you know, I mean, this looks like, and there'll be pictures on this article, there's OSB all over my windows. There's OSB all over my driveway. And it makes you change. Now I can't park where I park. There's all this machinery here. And I've done this my whole life, been in construction. And still, to me, I was aggravated. Now, did it end up great? 30 days later, there was a bunch of rain and but I just want where customers can read, and hopefully some of them, customers, that aren't customers yet, read this before they sign. But I really want our salespeople to read this article and go, it's your job to convey this is what it's going to be.
Yes.
Asphalt jobs, they're a day and they go faster usually and they're better, but we don't want to convey something that's all puppy dogs and flowers when it sounds like Iraq on top of your roof. And you have to use your head when you're explaining these things. And some salespeople, unfortunately, want to sugarcoat things, and nobody's happy at the end. So that's all the point of that article is. It's not
absolutely. You believe in your company, but I think it'll send a really strong message to your whole sales team that, guys, transparency is going to be what gets you a 5-star review. And you guys are big about that. You guys have excellent reviews online and you share a lot of those reviews. So the customer's experience is mostly going to be dictated by their expectations. And if you set realistic expectations from the start, you're going to end up with a positive outcome. If you set unrealistic expectations from the start, you're going to end up disappointing people. It's that old adage of, under promise, over deliver,
And that's, that simple thing, what you just said, if salespeople did that, whether it's at our company or at other companies, different trades, the customer, obviously, if we have a bad review, it's one of two things. We set the expectations totally wrong or they owe us money. That's when we get, and they're making up reasons to, and that happens. To not say that isn't real either would be crazy. More company owners need to, hey, you're going to get a bad review. We're all going to sign a crazy person every once in a while. You're not doing any volume, but you got to minimize your exposure to that. And the name of the game is making customers happy, because happy customers refer you. And that's what propels businesses.
Well, speaking a little bit of your Claudette, looks like I might need to get screen sharing enabled to do this. So if you can, great. If not, no big deal. But I wanted to show something on your website, because you actually have a really, really great and easy to understand website that talks about process. It talks about what to expect from the roof inspection process, what to expect from the claims process, and then the installation. So you really lay out in 3 key areas what your potential customers should expect from you all the way through that. And I know that, long term, you want to really get this to the point where people can walk themselves through most of this on their own. Give me a sense of, this is an investment, and you still see a lot of contractors that struggle to look at their website as a living, breathing salesperson that is out there all the time for you and continue to invest in it. You have not, shied away from that. This is a key part of your long-term strategy. So how does the online piece, how does the website piece play into what you want to build with your business?
Well, I don't think, when I first started this, some of the salespeople thought I was trying to replace them. If I could hire 100 times the salespeople I have that were good, I would do it. That's how good business is.
Yeah,
that's a very rare commodity is salespeople. And I don't even like the word sales. It's just, you have an issue. Can we get you through to this and everybody come out? Is what they're doing. But I do think that you see with how the world's going, Amazon and stuff, that there's a lot of people out there that would rather do this process in bed at 10 o'clock where the husband and wife can relax, go through it, can go through the upgrades if they want and just bolt them on. and it would tell them in a successful insurance claim what their total out of pocket would be, and start the process right there, and not have us answering phones, not have insurance companies answering phones. That's the way I see it going, regardless of roof claim being involved or not. I just want to be a big part.
Yeah. There's always, I think some people in the industry sort of freak out and resist this idea that there is going to be a huge base of business out there long term that's going to want to do this, online. And Claudette, thank you for sharing this. You can go back to the main screen there, but you can kind of get a sense. I'd encourage you watching to go check out roofclaim.com, because they've got some really, really just really easy to understand ways of going about this, and we'll see that continue to evolve. But I think people at the end of the day are going to want to do more of this themselves, just because that's the way we're wired. As the younger generations get into home ownership and purchasing these types of things, they may still want to see a sales rep, for sure, but they're probably going to want to get most of the way there on their own, because we're conditioned now to do that online research. So the easier you can make it, I think the better off you're going to be. What other disruptions do you see coming in the marketplace over the next 5 to 10 years that you think is going to affect, the industry as we know it today?
Well, what we're working on, and I keep going back to this COVID, but it's not the elephant in the room, it's the herd of elephants in the room.
Right.
We are going through the process of making an app the homeowner can use, and in repair situations, both residentially and commercially, when we can get back with all the fine folks that want to be in our network, and we can actually talk to them face to face and go through our due diligence, and then go through their due diligence with us, becoming a contractor in the network, is having an Uber type platform. So in a thunderstorm, if the plumbing burst in my house right now, I don't know who to call. I have no idea who the plumber is. If that was all vetted for me, and I just hit the button that I have a broken pipe right now, and it goes out to 10 contractors that are vetted that can hit it, and say that one can be there in 27 minutes and you can track them, I think is the way service is going to go. So I saw Uber today bought another food delivery vehicle. They think that's the way everybody's going to go in that. I think service is going to follow right along with it. And the vetting process and the stuff, that's why it's important for contractors to get people's feedback that's documented, because the other customers can see and they can read through there. Customers are very smart, and they know the ones that person has a problem with everything. For the general, these people are good, and I have an issue and I need it taken care of.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a disruptor from, I remember the Yellow Pages, nobody can remember that anymore,
That's right.
Things are going to move fast, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. And staying ahead of that is key. If you're watching this, I think the one thing you need to be cultivating is an online presence, but also online reviews. And I think that's something, Brian, you guys have done so well, and understand that's a really, really important part of your ability to be successful. And it has to be maintained and current and perpetual. I see 5, 6, 7 times a day you guys are posting project photos with your truck out front, with the product you use, with the happy homeowners are in them. Sometimes it's just a picture of the finished job, and it's showing people that you're current, you're in business, you're serious about business, and you have a lot of potential customers that you could refer people to if they really wanted to understand what you were all about. So I think, and not everybody really is going to follow up on that. I would say most people probably would never make a phone call to somebody that had already done business, but they just want to see and feel that comfort level. And that's what you guys do really, really well. Yes. Go ahead, Brian.
No, it's just easy on the customer. One of my, what I would say when I was training salespeople was, I was in the field, the easiest place to get a contract is buy and install. And I would talk to neighbors and say, just come down to the install. Look at how we're doing it. and they would rather just sign the contract. They didn't want to come down there and really look. It was, they knew you were doing it. They know you can do it, and they want to get it done. And that's what it does. And that's who they're going to use now more than likely.
Yep. Yep. So, well, let me give a quick shout out to some folks that are watching and hollering at us. Austin Pratt, how you doing, buddy? Thank you for being on. Brian Portis, Colleen, Teresa, Stephanie, Josh, Cameron watching from Tennessee, and Alex. So great. Thank you guys for joining us. We also had Mark just pop on and say hello. Really happy you guys are all watching live. Brian, tell us a little bit about, let's sort of pivot off the business. What are some of your passions outside of work, man? What gets you excited? What do you do in your free time?
Think about work.
I had a feeling this was going to have something to do with work.
I was trying to get an 8th day put in through Congress, but that didn't happen. No, I guess I am the typical workaholic. I don't go play golf. I occasionally, now 5 or 6 nights of the year, I live better than some rock stars, but then I just go back to work. So pretty much, there isn't, I'm pretty passionate about, when I get into these projects and that roof claim, as soon as we can get through this mess and really get out there in the country and push it, excites me. And that's what I like. And it just takes a lot of time, so, you rest but I like it. So, it doesn't bother me. It's not work actually to me, it's just that
is very obvious, I think. And I every time I talk to you, I think what's so striking about you is how invested you are in the details of your business and the amount of things about things that I think a lot of people over time may just sort of stop paying attention to, but it's the detail that I think has made you so successful. And to that point, I guess I'll pivot into another really important part about running a business is having really good people around you. And you have some really good people around you. When you, I've met, folks in your organization like Ariel and Wayne and Brian and a lot of different folks. When you're evaluating talent, what are some of the things that are important to you when you're trying to hire somebody? What do you look for? What are those traits as a hiring manager, as the boss running this business that you look for?
In our organization, and, I wanted to back up a little because, this is the way I do it. Obviously, doesn't mean it's the only successful way to do it, or there are people that play golf 2 times a week and are more successful than me, but people with strong work ethic and just ethics in general to make it on our team, because we do have to hire fast. The employment situation out there is very hard. So these managers hiring, they need people, so they have to take chances, but it weeds out pretty quick if, you have a strong work ethic and just ethics in general. And like I said, I don't really like the word sales. We're just talking to customers about the issue they have, and are we the right fit to take care of it? And we think, that we have it down where, the best case scenario, if you're filing a roof claim, is to use roof claim. And that's what we want to, when we can get back out here and start meeting people again. And, hopefully this IRE will be back to normal when we can start talking to contractors again and stuff, of us instilling part of that in their business, where they might have been focusing on something else because it just drives sales, it drives referrals.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's also evidence in some of the things that you guys do. You guys obviously go and work big storms, but you also, work storms longer and you work storms harder than others as well, and try to find consumers that may be underserved. There's a lot of contractors in the restoration and insurance business that go in and they get the cream off the top and then they're out of Dodge. You guys do establish yourself in a market, stay in that market, and try to be there long term. And I think that those are the customers that really need somebody that understands the process, because they probably were missed in the first round of sort of the, the storm hits and the stormers come in and then they're all gone, 8 months later.
That's what makes this business so great, that I don't think a lot of people realize. The bulk of the claims that really would go through never go through. And part of it, but that's a business model that some guys have, and it works successfully for them.
Yeah.
In getting those big pots going to the next one.
Yep.
But there's so much left on the table that if you have the financial strength and the wherewithal to sit there and just work through it, it really never stops, because Mother Nature doesn't stop.
Yeah.
The insurance companies always live up to their end for 99% of the time. Everybody has a horror story, but for the most part, they're great to work with.
Yeah.
So it's just a good business.
Yeah.
Not as good a business as there is. I mean, one of my hobbies is, investing. That's a hobby. And when you analyze businesses, they don't have a business model like re-roofing is. I say a lot, I used to frame a lot of houses. I've never framed a house twice.
Yeah.
Re-roofed in 3 years, the same houses 3 times.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Hurricane Katrina, a huge hailstorm, and Hurricane Gustav came right behind it. Highlands Ranch, Colorado, 5,000 houses pop the next year, pop again.
Yeah.
There's not, it's drilling for oil, and oil's 5 feet in the ground. It's a good business.
Well, it's a good business to be in, and I think it's also, construction in general, I think is a great place to be. If you're watching this, you're in a good industry, and if you're trying to attract talent, make sure you sell that story. Sell that story that there's a place you can grow, you can make a good living, and you're doing something great for people that need to be made whole again in these situations after a storm. I think people don't want to deal with these issues in their home. They want somebody to come in and help them navigate a really complicated process. So, Brian, you've been an incredible industry trailblazer and somebody that's been very successful. And we can't wait to see what the future holds for you. And we'll be there right there supporting you. We had Jason here commented he'll use your services in the future. Hasn't used you before, but appreciates your sponsorship for Timmy Hill and NASCAR. So you got a NASCAR fan and a Timmy Hill fan there too. So
awesome. Thank you, Jason.
Well, hey, our Asphalt Life prize pack winners are Austin Pratt and Brian Portis. Austin and Brian, look for a message from the Atlas Facebook page. We'll get you guys some Asphalt Life swag. Brian, any closing thoughts for the Asphalt Life community as we sort of head into the second half of the year and what has been just an unbelievably complex year of 2020?
Yeah, I think that stuff's going to clear out here, or we're going to be able to adapt and evolve better. But I think you said a very important thing. If I was talking to a group of kids, I would heavily tell them I would look at construction before I'd look at being a doctor. Now, if you're geared towards being a doctor, I get it. But I have a brother-in-law who's a doctor, and after he did it, he's like, "Ooh, I didn't know it was this." The construction industry just needs talent, and if you got it and you'll work hard, it's almost bulletproof. You're going to be a success.
Absolutely. Find some good work ethic and find some good mentors like this guy right here, Brian Wedding, who can show you the ropes and you can learn from. There's so many great people to learn from in this industry. So, Brian, thanks, man. I really enjoyed chatting with you. We had a great Atlas Pro Talk on this Tuesday afternoon. And, hey, man, good luck navigating things down there. Have a great second half. I know we'll be talking to you.
Talk to you later, Stan.
All right. We'll see you. Thanks, Claudette. See you.